So they all attempt to lift Thor's hammer, and Hawkeye says it's a trick. And first Hawkeye tries, then then Tony tries, so and they all says, "Oh boy, this is not good." so just to be clear, if I lift this hammer, I will be the king of Asgard and rule Asgard, right? And Zor says, "Yes, that is correct." Okay, I will also be make something Pabalaka illegal. Something like that. And he's like, listening. He says, "This one, let me go looking back." And he goes to get a piece of armor for his hand and tries to lift it. And then Rhodey, his best friend Rhodey, joins in the armor lifting and lifts this. And says, and he's and Tony says, "Wait, you're on my side, or are you on my side, or what?" And Roy says, "This represent, fool," and his lifts the damn hammer, and then Captain America tries to lift it, and he lifts it a little bit, and so I was like, "Oh shit." He lifted the hammer a bit. Oh, looks like this, and then, so Captain America tried and Thor lied and said nothing. And he's drinking beer and he says, "Holy shit, he almost lifted it." And then Banner tries to lift it, and he just like, and he tries to go green. It's like, ah! And he makes Romanoff laugh. Actually, she laughed like that. That's cute. And so, in the if Romanoff wants to turn, and she says, "I don't think that's, no, I don't need to know that answer." That's a question I do not need to answer. Or something like that. Anyway. And Ultron crashes the party. Has this cool jack-o'-lantern look to him. And he says, and they ask, "Who and Kevin asks, "Who are you?" And he plays a recording from Tony Stark. "I see a suit armor around the world," and Bam realizes it's Ultron. And he says, "In the flesh." Not really though, no, this form won't do. And he says, and Captain America says, what do you want? And he says, I'm on a mission. I had to kill the other guy. That's what I said. He was a really nice guy. He says, you killed someone? And he says, my mission is a piece of time. And says, the only way to do that is the Avengers extinction. And a bunch of Ultrons come out of the wall and stuff. Pop out, fly out the wall, and the Avengers and attack the Avengers, and the Avengers take them down, and Banner is on flies over the counter, and to take care of cover, and says to Banner, turn green, and he says he won't. And Captain and I think yes, and someone throws Captain America's shield, and while Hawkeye's firing arrows, and I think it was Tony that throw Captain America's shield to Captain America, and he's take down this, decapitate this drone's head off, and they'll kick gas in this. Awesome. It's really quite badass actually, and it's really fun to watch. It's kind of amazing, this action scene, in a short period of time. So, and Ultron says, well, that was a tad bit dramatic. And they're all standing and staring, says, you want the world you want to save the world, but you don't want it to change. It says, how does humanity can we say, no, into that? And Captain America just throws the shield at him after he decides that's enough talking, and they have a Avengers meeting, and Saul grabs Tony by the neck, and Captain America says to slow down, and Tony says, so use your words. Oh, I have plenty of words for you, Stark. What the piss says hell. And he releases Tony by the neck after Cap goes in the world, and Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, says that Ultron has hacked into everything. He knows more about us than we know about each other. Watermelon corn candy colada. And so they do a little digging and find out and Tony's do a little digging, and Captain America holds this there's a file on this guy, and Tony says, hey, I know this guy. he wanted me to sell weapons to him. And Captain America's looking at him like, you sold weapons to this guy? Like, really? He's like, are you kidding me, Tony? And he says, not, and he says to Tony says, not all of them were. I didn't always say yes to the wanted me to sell. I never said yes to all of the times I sold weapons to a person. Okay, I didn't always say yes. Yeah, this guy I said no to. And they find out about this huge chunk of vibranium and Wakanda, and this guy, his name's Claw, that's dealing with the chunk of vibranium, and that's me out of Captain America's here, and he actually anyway, it has something to do with like Ultron. This anyway, it has something to anyway. Captain says, "What's in Wakanda?" And cut to Wakanda, where Ultron is going to be, and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch show up and interrogate Claw, and Claw knows that he's not the boss. Claw knows that she's not the boss, and because the person in charge doesn't need to interrogate, and Claw only speaks to the person in charge. He's a man in charge, and like Ultron comes in and he says, "There is no man in charge. Let's talk business." So, they get vibranium, they get business done, and he says, "You guys are worse whiny," and Ultron does this little thing, and the answer says, "Not sorry, you make your friends, as I would say, get your make your enemies, make your friends richer, and find out which is which." And Claw says Stark said that to him, and thinks that he wants Stark. Puppet says, "I am nothing like Tony Stark. I am not one of Stark's puppets." Do you really think I'm Tony Stark's one of Stark's puppets? And don't compare Stark and he chops Claw's hand off. And the Avengers show up. Captain America and so the Avengers show up and says, Iron Man says on Junior, you're going to break your old man's heart. And Ultron says, if I have, you can't break, he says you can't make an omelet and without breaking a few eggs. And Stark says he beat me by one pun. and they try to talk some sense, and we also get I skipped some backstory. When Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch met Ultron, they told them some of the backstory, and they wait for 5 days for Tony Stark to kill us, and it says there's this big rumbling, and explosion, and saying how that changed them, and it happened when Tony was still dealing with weapons. It was still a weapons deal, and so yeah, and and so the Avengers and Ultron and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch tried to talk some sense into Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and basically the stillness and reasons, so fight happens, and Iron Man's fighting Ultron. Black Widow's fighting a bunch of guys, and like kind of like running up the walls and flipping on them and stalking them, and Hawkeye's like shooting arrows at certain distance and shooting arrows this and that way, and Captain America's took down Quicksilver will get back up, and Captain America throws a shield to Quicksilver, but Quicksilver moves fastly, so he passed Captain America and punched him in the face, and while Thor's kicking ass, he has a terrible vision of Asgard, and it's because the Scarlet Witch says like the witch tried to mess with my head, but unfortunately I am mighty. But so he has this vision of Asgard because of Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver Thor's hammer, Quicksilver attacks also, runs speed, picks up the speed and runs faster, and time moves slower, and he sees Thor's hammer and tries to use Thor's hammer, and Thor's hammer uses him. And so, Scarlet Witch brainwashes the entire Avengers, such as Captain America, Black Widow, and except Hawkeye, because Hawkeye saw Scarlet Witch coming to zaps him with zaps her in the forehead with bow and arrows, electric bow and arrow, and says, "I'm not a fan of being brainwashed. I've been brainwashed before." And Quicksilver goes to Scarlet Witch and knocks Hawkeye over and takes the bow and arrow off of Scarlet Witch's electrical bow and arrows after that was electrocuting Scarlet Witch's head, and he takes off with her, and Hawkeye says, "Yeah, you better run." And so Silver asks if Scarlet's okay, and she says, "I want to finish the job. I want the big one." And she sees Bruce Banner standing, where Bruce Banner is standing, and he sees them also. And Banner's like, Banner has a look like, "Oh shit." And so she brainwashes Bruce Banner, and he turns into the Hulk and goes to New York City. And while Tony Stark is taking care of Ultron and finishing kicking Ultron's ass, and he says it's over. Says, and Ultron says, "I'm not here. I'm somewhere else." You'll eventually catch on. Trying to have somewhere else to be. And he hears the Hulk, and he hears the Hulk roars, and he's like, "Oh shit!" So he goes straight to where the Hulk is, so he goes. No, it was a ship. It wasn't Wakanda that they were on. It was a ship that was about to take off to Wakanda. It was a ship filling themselves up and going to take off to Wakanda that they were fighting on. Well, it's still in New York. And when he goes to city with the Hulk, so sorry, I'm coming out of depression when I'm coming more after depression. I'm getting a little sleepy. Coming out of it. Because reviewing stuff makes me happy so much. And I should plug this in. So after the Hulk has smashed some of the city, Hulk calls the Hulk Buster and suits up in the Hulk Buster, and he tries to talk some sense into the Hulk and says, "You're stronger than her, you're Bruce